Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. I can get my agenda up here. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Vallecitos Water District for Wednesday, July 19th, 2017. Okay, ask Director Sinella to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a roll call, please.
Here? Here.
Here.
Here. Okay, next is the adoption of the agenda for this meeting.
So moved.
Approved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda for this evening's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries unanimously. Next is public comment. Persons wishing to address a matter not on the agenda may be heard at this time. However, no action will be taken until the matter is placed on a future agenda in accordance with board policy. The board is not permitted during this time to enter into dialogue with the speaker. I have one request to speak from Mike Hunsaker.
Mike Hunsaker, 115 Equestrian Court. And I've attended two meetings that were very interesting recently. One from the City Council of San Marcos, where about 20 individuals showed up because they're concerned that with 7,000 houses being built in San Marcos, according to them, there's no room for the students and children in schools. Some have said that half the schools are overcrowded. Some have said 12 out of 15. Some said 14 out of 15. I checked with staff at the Unified School District, and we said all 15 are overcrowded. I attended a second meeting last night on Newland Sierra. There was a lot of passion about this project. Now, it's been, a previous reincarnation was opposed by about, I saw over 200 people at one meeting. Well, at tonight's meeting, there was over 300, and they estimated it was 350. It was standing room only. And there was a lot of compassion and discussion about the inadequacies of the EIR. 8,000 pages, and it still is missing stuff. But it did have an interesting section on all the building projects within the Vallecitos Water District. Well, yeah, the Vallecitos Water District. Everything within about 10 miles. And it appears that over the next 3 years, we may potentially have a population growth of 30,000 people. This is far too much for infrastructure, and there was quite a bit of discussion about how the infrastructure is being overrun. And there was particular interest in traffic, biological preserves, and water. There was also introductions of brand new specialists that have been hired to consider all of the problems this hyper building will present, in addition to schools. Water is one of the big issues. So the question is, how are we going to be ready for this many people in the near future? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all the requests to speak that I have under this section. So next is a new employee introduction.
Good evening. Been a while.
Yes. I was just thinking that. I'm like, when's the last time we did one of these?
It's been quite some time, actually, almost a year
Yeah.
at this
wow.
point. I'm here to introduce Debbie Vale. She became a district employee on June 28th as a Customer Service Representative 1, which was open due to a recent promotion. I'm gonna change things up a little bit this time. Most new employees, including me, we just kind of write a list and then HR sticks it all together in our little template. Debbie wrote us an actual introduction,
Oh.
and it's very refreshing, and I'm gonna read it verbatim. So these are all Debbie's words. Next to cleaning, washing, and cooking, I enjoy spending time with my loved ones. I have an 8-year-old son full of cool ideas, so I stay busy. My favorite place to go is the beach. I find it beautiful and peaceful to see God's creations. Of course, I love shopping and visiting the nail salon too. However, spending quality time with my bed and TV is priceless. Law and Order and Fox 5 can get pretty interesting. And that is Debbie.
Well, welcome aboard, Debbie.
Yes. Question?
Go ahead.
And Debbie, where were you before?
I was working for Manpower.
Mm.
Yeah, but I've been at Sun for 2 years here in Vallecitos
Oh.
before I got hired. Yeah.
So this is one of those great opportunities that we've had a 2-year job interview with Debbie. She's been helping us for 2
And you
years.
passed.
And she passed. So
Correct.
it's a great opportunity.
Very good.
And did I understand someone retired?
We actually had a employee who resigned. She was in a higher level position for personal reasons, which resulted in a promotion and which resulted in the 1 level vacancy.
Very good. Great, fantastic, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Any other questions? No?
No.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Next, we have a presentation, and maybe let you kick it off.
Sure. So tonight, we want to recognize Fernando Mata. Fernando? There you are. Okay. Do you want to come up to the podium maybe? So Fernando joined the district back in August of 2016, 3 months before I joined the district, in the position of a wastewater treatment plant operator 1. And he recently received his wastewater treatment plant operator grade 3 certificate from the State Water Resources Control
Very
Board.
good.
And that's a huge step in a person's career. It shows a dedication to his profession, and it really helps us with succession planning and as we move forward and we have people moving out of the system, we have bright young people moving in to take those positions. So congratulations, I'm going to ask the president to come up and present you with the certificate.
Congratulations. And I know these things are hard to get because I got them in my career. So I know what it takes to go through this, so congratulations. Give me a picture.
Photo op.
General Manager Prune, what's the next step for him at this point?
At the district here,
After, yeah, he's got his 3.
After 3.
What happens, what's potentially could happen after you have your grade 3?
well, he can go on and get higher certifications with the state, and it provides opportunity to advance within the district as positions become available and there's a business need for it. So hopefully the next thing for Fernando is normally progression, he's a treatment plant operator 1 now, the next step would be a treatment plant operator 2. It's normally time and grade, you have to have at least a year under your belt, and the supervisor needs to believe that you've made significant progress, so another 3 months he'll be eligible to become a treatment plant operator 2. He did not need the certification of a grade 3, to be eligible to become a treatment plant operator 2, but I think it shows his commitment to his craft that he's going ahead and getting it, even though that's not what he needs for his next step.
Right, so he's full-time at Meadowlark,
Yes.
as all the gentlemen were that were here.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. I didn't see everyone back there.
They're all Meadowlarks.
His-
Great, thank you.
His friends joined him there.
Good.
All right, very good. Okay, and our next presentations are related to the 2017 Water Smart Landscape Contest winners. Chris?
Thank you, President Eeltharp. Board members, I have a lot of pleasure bringing our three winners to the board meeting today. And Alicia worked with each of the winners to create a video And it'll really give you some details of their landscaping, their thought processes, the water savings at their properties, and their overall effort to do it. And so if Diane can help us see this before we have the presentation, here we go.
Hi, my name is Connie Newt, and my husband Tom Newt. We've lived in San Marcos for 28 years at 542 Woods Drive. When I heard that, there's a water shortage and we really need to do something, and I wanted to be water wise. And over the years, I've been learning a lot of new things, like how important mulch is, how important the proper soil is. Soil is number one. We just read that yesterday. Landscaping, the water went down 2/3 compared to what it was when we had grass and bushes. When you do container plants, you just water love plant, you're not watering the whole ground or sprinkler. And then we also have the drip system in front, which waters 10 minutes every other day. Everything grows just perfectly.
Where the bed in the back takes up a lot of space, and it doesn't take any maintenance.
And it also has the irrigation going through it, so I know working a little bit. When I heard the Vallecitos Water District contest at the San Marcos Street Fair, my husband said, come here, they have a contest for people who love their yard and want to be water wise. And I said, okay, that's us. And we signed up. We also have gone down to Vallecitos Water District several times, and they have the most beautiful succulents. When I went in there to do something, the ladies were so nice, really, really nice. They just went out of their way, so it was really a nice experience. After it was all done, we are so proud of our water-wise yard and saving water.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Newman, and I live at 2439 Rocky Glen, Escondido, California. When we got notification that we needed to conserve water, we thought the biggest impact that we could make as an individual homeowner was to do sustainable landscaping. We know that this isn't a short-term thing that's happened, but we know that the drought is going to continue, and we know that the drought will always come back, and it will always have this problem. In addition, when we had to start conserving, our grass started turning brown, and it wasn't attractive anymore. We had our entire yard was grass. Everything from the house all the way down was grass, and we just felt like that was a waste for us. So we were hoping by doing this, we could get a long-term solution to some of the problems that we have. I wanted to join this contest because since we've done this, I've had a lot of people come up and ask us what we've done, who did it for us, what our process was, what we thought. So the reason that we did this in the first place, we knew that there would be a great water savings when we got our bill each month. We've been able to see that already. We've been able to cut our bill down probably 25%, and we know that this will gradually grow. We wanted this front area to be natural looking, so we chose boulders that are natural for around here. And we wanted to complement it with different types of plants. And then on top of that, we put what's called bark rock. Okay, it's a little bit different than mulch. It's an actual rock itself, but it does look like bark. So we wanted to be able to take the area, we wanted to use it as an extension of our house and put the sustainable landscaping in front of that in order to enhance everything that we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to capture the runoff from the rain. And we looked at several different options, such as rain barrels and additional gutters. We found what worked best for us was to take the existing rain gutters that we had and move them underneath the pavement that we have put in and out into the yard. So when it rains, it will actually come down, it will go underneath this courtyard that we have, and it will go out into the actual yard. And then the way we designed it is the water and moisture will retain. So once it does rain, we go about 2 to 3 weeks without having to water again. We've inspired a lot of people. There are a lot of people up here that have started doing the same process. We felt like it would be a good thing to share this with other people. We're outdoor people to start with. We spend the majority of our time outside. We like to have a glass of wine on our courtyard. We like to read books. We like to entertain our neighbors. And we've met so many neighbors since we've done this. Our neighbors will walk up and ask us about our various plans. They'll ask us about the process that we went through. And we love sharing it with them because we hope that they too will take that and be able to do something to help conserve water. I'd like to thank Vallecitos Water District for providing me the opportunity to do this contest. This contest not only helps show other people that there's a way to do this, but there's also a monetary
Gary designed the yard, and then we hired John Corning to come in and install the yard for us, and he's also an expert on California native landscaping. He suggested on the landscape design that we put in a rain chain. The rain chain goes to a hidden drain. Water actually drains up right into this dry riverbed. I like that idea of not just having the water go out to the street. John Corning mentioned that we could put in a smart controller. I didn't even know what a smart controller was. So the controller is really nice. I can also operate it through my phone. If we're out of town or something, we can turn the water off if there's a problem. Currently, because our yard is fairly new, and we were kind of worried about the trees, we water every 4 days for 5 minutes. I think the most important thing with your yard is to figure out exactly what it is you want to get out of it. And you can make it look good for other people, especially the front yard. You want it to look nice because it's your front yard. You're sharing it with your neighbors. Really kind of figure out what it is you want and take that inspiration and put that into your yard. I can't believe how much fun my yard is. I love coming out here just to see what's happening in the yard. The bees love it and the birds love it. It's been a joy. I would never go back to just a boring lawn and a couple trees and a couple of bushes. This is so much more fun.
Really nice synopsis by there. We've got some real video stars here.
Yeah.
And of course, Alicia with her video work. I'd like to bring up our third place winner, which is Connie and Tom New. Award, yeah, parting gifts, right? Certificate, which actually I believe has an image of your landscape in it, I think, right? Isn't that?
That is,
Yeah. And then gift certificate to Wayne Creek Gardens. And then probably maybe a yard sign for us. Oh, yeah. Yard sign for you to help us advertise for next year. You know, that's what we're doing. Second place is Charlie and Cheryl Newman. Give the, I think this one's got your landscape in it too. And the image right there.
That's great.
Nice. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of it. Oh, yeah, I do want one. Anytime I get to be taller than somebody. And last, we have Cindy Jones. And would you like to invite Carrie?
Carrie,
Yeah.
you can do a photo first.
All right.
She's back.
Thank you.
And yours as well. And a nice gift certificate to Buena Creek
Oh,
Gardens.
thank you.
And then, just for fun, everybody saw that nice picture of the,
Oh, did you get me a t-shirt?
Oh, the T-shirt.
I'd love you if you did. I
well, you
wanted
know,
it.
we did. I don't take credit for this.
I love it.
But I think this was, I think maybe Alicia's idea, and then Lisa, our cohort,
you,
who's off on
Alicia.
Wednesdays, she actually came up with the
Oh, that's
sign.
cute.
So you actually have a shirt that says it's not hoarding if it's succulent. Could I get a picture with all the board members down here with all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All of them?
Absolutely.
Okay, come on up too.
Excellent job, all of you. Excellent job.
I'm really enjoying the house and helping everybody out
You good?
My phone's just a backup. PR guys always have a backup. Thank you so much. We've all got yard signs for you to take as you head out. You're welcome to continue to stay for the rest of the board meeting, but you're also welcome to
You have better things to do.
get your parting gifts.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great job.
Wonderful. Great job.
You and Jim, which one's the bigger pole car?
As soon as,
You and Jim, which one's the bigger pole car? There's four of us. Takes a board.
Feel good stuff. It's nice to.
Oh, that's great, that's a great thing. It's built every year, it's gotten better.
Chris, Alicia, Alicia. Chris, you're gonna have to watch out. Hollywood is already looking at our girl there because these videos, it's the third one now, fourth one actually, that we've seen. Excellent job. Thank you so very much. They're perfect. And I'm sure they're gonna be on their website.
Yes,
Good.
we just wanted to wait until we had this.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Awesome job.
Thank you for that. In only 3 months. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
all right.
All right.
Next is our consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar will be voted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or a member of the public requests a particular item be removed from the consent calendar, in which case it will be considered separately under action items.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carries unanimously. Okay, 2.1 is public hearing. So this is the time and place for a hearing to consider adoption of resolution of the Vallecitos Water District approving the sewer service fees to be collected on the tax roll for Improvement District A for the fiscal year July 1, 2017 to June 30, 2018.
Move to approve?
Second.
I don't think we need that at this point, do we?
You have to open the public hearing, right?
Yeah, but I don't think there's anybody unless.
No ticket, anyway.
Nobody here.
Oh, Mike's still here.
All right, well, I'll let General Manager Perum then provide details.
Okay, just real quickly. So the purpose of this hearing is to receive public input, which there may not be any, on the sewer service fee collected on the tax roll for Improvement District A. This district includes all parcels that receive sewer service but do not receive a water bill because they don't receive water service from Vallecitos. Placing the fee collection on the tax rolls is in lieu of sending out a monthly bill. The fees are collected with the property tax rolls by the assessor and then subsequently submitted to the district. And this year, nearly $1 million, just short of $1 million in fees will be collected via this process. The board is required to conduct this public hearing every year to do this, and they last did so on July 20th of last year.
All right, thank you. So does any member of the Board of Directors have any questions for staff at this point?
No.
Okay. Does any member of the public have any questions of staff?
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, let's see. It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing?
Sure.
Sure.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
I move to approve?
Second.
The resolution?
Yes.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Needs to be roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. All right, on to item 3.1, resolution declaring intent to reimburse certain expenditures.
I'll take that one. So this item was previously brought in front of the board at the July 5th meeting. and was asked to be brought back. This is an inducement resolution to allow for the reimbursement of project costs for identified projects from the proceeds of a future bond issuance. The resolution establishes the date from which project costs can be reimbursed. The resolution lists 6 projects that could benefit from the proceeds of future bond issuance. These projects have all been included in the district CIP program. What the resolution does, it does allow for project cost reimbursement, and it preserves options and flexibility by the district. What it does not do, it does not commit the district to actually pursuing any of the projects, nor does it commit the district to issuing debt in the future. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Director Minna.
I just want to thank the board for bringing this back and allowing us the next meeting for me to meet with General Manager Prum, and had a firm understanding, much better than I had that night, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much to the board. With that, I move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that, we did have one speaker on the issue.
Mike Hunsaker, for the record. I am familiar with bonds. I've served on 3 different citizen oversight bond committees, and I've done some forensic work on mobile home park bonds. This does not seem to be something that would qualify for tax exemption. Tax exemption requires a great deal of specificity on what money is to be spent for. And one of the things that bothered me from the previous discussion was whether or not undercharges for capacity fees would be included. It's one thing to have water from existing ratepayers given to new developments, but if they're being asked to pay for underpayments, that is something that you have a big problem. There's also the question of what is the form of the bond. San Diego County Water Authority is, quote, experimenting with variable rate bonds. These sort of bonds are time bombs if interest rates rise. I've seen them where there's a temporary low interest rate, and these bonds seem super cheap. Then the rates go up, and you have hedge funds moving in. This sort of thing resulted in the collapse of the Orange County in Detroit, and indirectly resulted in the Flint River water disaster. So how is this bond to be done? What does it really cover? And does it include any underpayments of capacity fees? Thank you.
Yeah, this in no way is talking about any kind of bonding action, so maybe turn it over to staff.
Yeah, correct. There's nothing in front of the board today to talk about issuing bonds. This would just allow the district to be reimbursed from a future issuance of bonds. And the bonds, if there were a bond issuance in the future, those would be fully vetted out in the future public meeting.
Thank you. Just a point of clarification. Does our water agency ever under-collect capacity fees?
We are in the, we currently have a deficit in our capacity fee, and we are doing a study to determine what the capacity fees should be to help right the ship, I'll say, as future development occurs. So to the extent that, the fact that there's a deficit doesn't necessarily mean that we're under collecting. It may just be the timing of the development. You may have fronted the money to build facilities that was needed even for the first unit, and subsequent units will reimburse the district for those costs that were spent. And any, if there were an undercollection, the study that's underway will correct that.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we had a motion and a second, so it's a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, on And 3.2, San Marcos Chamber of Commerce, meet your elected officials, mixer per diem expense reimbursement approval.
Okay, the district has an ordinance that specifies which agencies or which organizations district directors can attend and be reimbursed both on a per diem basis and for expenses. The San Marcos Chamber of Commerce is not on that list. There's an upcoming event, I believe it's next Thursday, I want to say, and we're just bringing it in front of the board to see if the board would like to add this to the list for this year for reimbursement for any interested director.
Okay. Director Hernandez.
Aren't we part of the Meet the Officials list? Or did we not get invited?
Oh, we were invited.
Oh, okay, all right, well,
Right.
yeah, then, I think it's then appropriate. If it was just a mixer, and I know they have mixers every month, and I don't believe we've ever had the request to be per diem for those mixers, but in this case, I would believe that would be appropriate.
Director Burns.
I think this has come up before, every year, but I think it's come up before, and I think it was, if something we would normally go to anyhow, that it's not something we get reimbursed for as a per diem expense. I think that's how we've handled it in the past, and unless I'm incorrect, if anyone can correct me, I think we've handled
I
that.
think this is the third annual mixer event they've had.
Yes.
We haven't asked for reimbursement the other 2 years, I don't believe.
No, I haven't been reimbursed for any of it, so I don't see the need to reimburse us. You choose to go or you choose not to go.
Director Snow, any comments?
Yeah, no comments. First off, I think it's a wonderful event. I've attended the last 2 years. Unfortunately, I'll be on the East Coast on business this time, so I won't be able to attend. And what have we done historically? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't think the last 2 years we sought reimbursement.
Well, the first year that we did it, I was working for the chamber, and it was my inducement to the chamber that made it happen. And so I was there in the name of the chamber, so I wasn't getting it reimbursed anyhow. But I don't think we've asked for reimbursement since then. And I think it's something you choose to go to, but you don't have to go to.
I don't have strong feelings either way, and since I'm not going to attend, I'll let you guys talk about it.
Understand. I don't have particularly strong, if that was a form of a motion, I'll second for purposes of voting.
Which one?
Move to add it to the one-time event.
I'll second that. Yes.
Just a per diem.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve per diem expense. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no.
Abstain.
Yeah, abstain.
Good.
What was that?
2 ayes and
Two-
2 abstains.
2 abstains and 2 ayes.
I think it passes.
Passes.
I think it passes.
Passes.
The abstentions in this context actually can be treated as favorable, as moving, voting for it. I know it sounds a little crazy, but that's the,
I'm not gonna be there. I'm not involved in this.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Next.
All right, next are reports. General Manager.
Okay, just, I got quite a few here, I'll just try to go through them quickly. In my absence, well, first of all, I'm glad to be back, I was gone for 2 weeks, and I'm glad to be.
Welcome back.
It's nice to be back.
You were missed.
Well, thank you. And I want to say thanks to staff for keeping things running so smoothly. I do keep in touch, but I try to not keep in touch too much. We did have a water main break, which is a fairly significant one. I just want to give you an update. It occurred on July 12th. It was on Barnett Drive, just east of Vineyard, I believe was the location. We had trouble closing the valves to isolate the system, so staff had to abort the attempt to fix the repair and instead went in and replaced the valves to isolate the system. So the repairs have not yet been completed, but they will be within the next week or two, just when I understand it. There are no homes that are out of water. They've been high-lined, which is when you run the above-ground line to connect from the hot water service to the homes that would otherwise be out of service. So hopefully that'll be repaired in the next week or two. Let's see, Proposition 218, We will be sending the Proposition 218 notice for the proposed adjustments to water and sewer rates. They will be sent to the post office on July 24th. So citizens, customers should be receiving them as early as the following day. And a reminder for the board that the public hearing date is September 20th of this year. So reserve your calendar. It's an important date for all the directors to be there. Just a reminder, tomorrow is the employee appreciation event, so hopefully all the directors can be in attendance. Lunch is at 11:30 in the lunchroom, followed by a recognition event in the board chambers here. And for the two members of the Finance Committee, I'm trying to set up a Finance Committee meeting this month. The best date for staff, and hopefully it works for you, is July 31st at 3 o'clock. Doesn't work for you, Director Snell?
No, I'll be in Boston the 25th to the 2nd.
How about the 24th and/or the 25th, which would be next Monday, Tuesday? Do those work?
What time on Monday, or Tuesday?
Well, we're shooting for 3 o'clock. We think there's quite a bit of information. There's like 6 items on there, so we're gonna need a couple of hours.
Let me get back to you.
Okay.
Tuesday's out, actually, I'll be flying all day.
Tuesday
so,
25th
yeah,
is no good?
Yeah, so let me see what I can do for
Okay,
Monday.
I'll coordinate offline with the rest of you.
Thank you.
I'm fine, just so you know, any 3 days.
Okay.
You didn't ask, but I think I'd tell you.
And just a brief update on Diamond Environmental Services. We did talk in the past about actions that, from illegal dumping from Diamond Environmental Services. There was a follow-up inspection by the Encino Wastewater Authority today, and we're making sure that Diamond takes the proper steps to control and eliminate any future illegal discharges. Yes, sir.
Quick question, was there a water main break in the last 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll turn to Ed on that one.
I just heard of one last night from our vice mayor who made me aware she got a call from a resident saying that there was a water break in front of this lady's house.
In San Leo Hills, Ridge Court. It actually wasn't the water main that broke, it was the pipe coming off of it for the blow off, which is where we flushed the line from. So staff was actually able, it was on Sunday, so they were able to actually dig down and shut off the valve at the main and then just put a plate on it and then went back during regular hours and made the repair.
Was the lady able to get in and out of her house okay during that time?
I didn't hear of any customers unable to,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I just heard about it last night and I went, well, what's the complaint? She said, I think she could get out of her house. I said, well, I don't think we would do that, so.
Yeah, the only time that would happen is if it blew up right in front of her
Right.
driveway.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
all I have.
Okay. District Legal Counsel.
I don't have anything other than a comment. You know, this is interesting. This is the first time I've ever heard that I've been accused of undercharging for capital facility fees. We're always on the other side of charging too much. And, you know, I just would reiterate to the board that the district has fought very hard over the years to ensure that we're collecting the appropriate charges, including, you know, taking a case all the way to the Supreme Court to ensure that we were taking a leadership role in legislation related to capacity fees. And so we're, you know, very mindful of that, and it's normally we're accused of charging too much.
Thank you. San Diego County Water Authority, Glenn, I don't know if you have anything to,
I don't.
in Betty's place? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't attend any of the recent meetings. So.
All right, we'll move on to Encino Wastewater Authority, Capital Improvement Committee.
We had our meeting this morning, and the one item that was on there was the capital improvement project status report, and they gave us the annual report, which was 15 items that they went through. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, except for a couple of three of them. The water reuse feasibility study is underway. That's for the 40 acres to our south, and that's going to be brought back. It's going to be brought back to a meeting in the managers meeting in August, and then there will be there is a quarterly regional meeting on September 10th that I wanted to be sure that the board is invited to. I don't quite know how they said they were going to send me a flyer, but I think it would be a good meeting to hear what the possibilities are. There's a number of options, which options, some numbers and all that. And that'll be coming up. that rolls into some of the other work that we're doing. The other item was the bio waste and recycling. That is a study that's going on as to what opportunities we have. We are just entering into negotiations with Stone Brewing to take all of their pulp that they use, which generates 30% more gas than the other stuff that we bring in, the food waste and everything. And then the septic tank disposal study is going on. That'll be accomplished, as I say, probably in August, September. And then they're going to determine, A, is it economically beneficial, and B, how they want to do it. Because there's a couple of ways to do it, in and out quick or a full-on facility. And that's the Encina report.
Okay, thank you. The policy and I'm sorry, Jim.
Just a quick question. You'll keep us informed, or staff will let us know when that meeting is, that you think it's a good idea we attend?
Yes, absolutely, because that's the big one. That's the big study on the 40 acres.
That was
So
September 10th?
September 10th is when we were told that they were a little wishy-washy on that. August, the managers' meeting, so you'll, I'm sure, get a preview of when that regional meeting will be. Oh, I'm sorry, the other thing that came up that I did want to mention,
Sunday.
CWA, California Water and Environmental, there's a,
CWEA.
yeah, there's a tri-state meeting sometime in September that it was suggested we look into, because that's a very notable conference that we may want to attend. So if staff could look into that and see if that makes any sense, let us know. I'd appreciate that. That is the end.
All right, thank you. I attended the Encina Policy and Finance Committee last week on the 11th. The committee recommended two items move on to the Board of Directors. One was to receive and file the independent auditor's communication regarding the annual audit of financial statements, and the other item was adoption of a resolution appropriating funds for FY 2018 operations and capital program budgets. Okay, moving on to standing committees. We had an engineering committee on the 10th.
Yes.
Turn that over to Director Hernandez.
Interestingly enough, it's how small this community is. One of the colleagues at my office proposed on this back when it was going on, and
Proposed on what?
proposed on the architectural documents for the creation of the expansion. And when I told her today what went on, go ahead.
I said the bathrooms, I didn't know what you.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
didn't
the
know what-
locker. That
Yeah.
was, the whole meeting was about the lockers.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get to the meat of
Thank
it
you.
here coming up, but the sidebar is,
I didn't know.
was very interesting. When I told her what the proposed budget was, she said, well, it is over the top, but that was the direction. So, that was the direction. So, we had the bid opening. We only had one bidder, and the bid came in at $613,046, with $72,069 of additive items. I got the report prior to the meeting. So that weekend I went, oh my goodness, this is way above where we thought the threshold was. So I put together what I thought was a reasonable solution. And we came to the meeting, we discussed the opportunities, we discussed how it went, we discussed how the process with which the consultant got the information and what he delivered. And then I showed them an opportunity whereby we could take, and was suggested as we were at the walkthrough, that perhaps we could take the men's and move it into the women's locker and then create something for the women to the side. And so I did that on pasting, looked it up. I put a budget together of about $280,000, delivered it, we discussed it. It went to staff. Staff looked at it and said, well, you know, we can do this, that, and the other. Let's just leave what's there with the women's locker room as it is, the men's locker room as it is, and then build an additional locker area with less lockers to accommodate, and an option that we could increase it and add the showers if need be. If not, we start with what we need today and then worry about what we need in 5 or 10 or 20 years later. And so, I don't know, James, if you have any more you want to add, or Craig, any more you want to add, but the recommendation that I believe the committee would deliver to the board is that we revise the plan to include the revision to the building for just men's lockers without showers and/or toilets and/or sink for a need to, that we fill the need for today, with an alternate that we show what it could be if we wanted to expand it today to add the showers and the sinks and the additional toilets. So there's a two add alternate proposal.
Well, and I think the other significant thing was to consider a different method of construction.
Oh, yes,
Not
thank
just
you very
consider
much.
tilt-up.
Yeah, stud and stucco
Yeah.
with a hard finish on the stucco and a reduced height to 12 feet.
And I appreciate all the work you've gone through. But it seemed to me, although I found it very interesting when the full board went to go see the showers, that it was, all locked up, highly secure. We had to wait outside. It was like, really, this is hocus pocus. But we have a locker room, I'm guessing, that seemed to be the size for 20 to 30 women. And although we only have 3 women that use it now, when we opened the facility, we had 1. 20 years later, we have 3, which means I could look at, maybe we could get to 10 someday, but probably not. And then we had a men's locker room with 2 showers. Only one is in possible use. The other one is used as storage. It's a storage facility with stuff stored in it. You only use 1 shower with a 1920 cow's washroom basin in the middle of it, which I thought was interesting. But and plenty of lockers. But it seemed to me we don't need a locker for every employee. We only need lockers for people that are in the field or could be in the field. For instance, none of our front desk people need operators. None of our administration need lockers. So if you just took and knocked out a hole in the wall at the back end of the women's and made that into men's locker room, it would be a very simple TI coming in for less than $200,000 with the upgrades of upgrading the showers and upgrading the sinks and upgrading certain things that 20 years later need to be upgraded. But it doesn't need the necessity for an outside wall, which is where the expense is, or for a Taj Mahal in bathrooms. But I'm just saying, that was just my observation, not being an architect. But I've had a lot of businesses and I've had to make additions, and I've known enough, because it's my money, to do it as cheaply as possible, that could be a very plausible way of doing it, without all the expense of what we were talking about, the tile floors. I mean, we went extreme for whatever reason. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I think if you get that number down and really think of what they really need the use for.
Part of the discussion was the minimization, or actually the rejection of adding tile and changing out sinks and all that. So that was all part of the process. The proposal that I started with and then staff looked at it to come back with is, I think, appropriate in that, we don't even touch the women's locker area, and we only add the lockers necessary for the men, and you just blow the hole out the other end, out of the men's side for that.
And then it was a smaller addition.
And it was, it went from 800 down to 400 or 3 something, I can't remember the exact number. So I think we're gonna cut the bid number in half for sure, and then that would provide us with the opportunity that with the add alternate, if we don't decide to do it today, in 5, 10, 20 years ago, in the future, all we have to do is add that little piece as opposed to then doing another facility. So, as I say, our recommendation was to make the modification, change it to stud and stucco, add the locker rooms to I think that's the north, and in a reduced footprint. Only lockers at this time, with an add alternate to show, so that we could make a decision as to whether we want to expand it to the full length with the showers and the sink and the toilets now, or at least we'd know how much it was going to cost. And so that's the recommendation. I think we need direction to staff as to what to do.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance yet to sit down with James. We had a brief conversation, he kind of gave me the overview, but I need to get more details.
Okay.
All right.
And will they come back to the board with what you'd like to see done, but to show us plans?
Yeah, before we re-advertise.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
We showed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
But I think we do need to give direction to staff to continue with this new footprint.
Yeah, because we would be incurring additional design
Yes,
costs.
oh, yeah, obviously.
Hopefully in with the payoff at the end of being reduced construction
Oh,
costs.
dramatically. Okay?
All right, thank you. Okay, on to director's reports on travel, conferences, seminars. Director Sinella?
Yeah, the only thing that I attended was yesterday was the COWA meeting in Poway, and it was a presentation by the San Diego County Water Authority, their CEO, Maureen Stapleton, and one of their directors, Michael Hogan. As you guys know, we took a stance on the lawsuit between MWD and the Water Authority recently, siding with the Water Authority. And I've seen Ms. Stapleton's presentation. I think that was the third time, different variations of it. But what I was most interested in was Michael Hogan's perspective, because he's one of the delegates to the MWD. And just a couple of little highlights that made me even feel better about the stance that we took. I was surprised and kind of blown away that when they purchased the Delta Islands, they never even got an appraisal. They just bought them.
And the confidentiality agreement with the
Yep.
seller that he didn't need to disclose his own appraisal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then him disclosing to us that, while I think it's no secret, especially if you're in the water industry at large, that there's been a lot of conservation going on lately. There's been a tremendous amount of diversification with desalination and recycling, and yet despite all of that, their board continues to expand upon some of their facilities, build new facilities that they admit that they may never have to use. So the takeaway for me was I felt better than ever, even though I was very comfortable with our decision initially anyways, that with the stance that we took.
Director Martin?
I also attended the COWA, and my takeaway was, of course, we're behind the County Water Authority, because we get money back, we'll be able to use it for something. And it seems like we're in the right, but that's for the attorneys to battle out for another 30 years. I also attended the North County Economic Development Corporation's meeting, and Jim did as well. I'll let Jim talk on that, I won't take his thunder away. And that's the only one that I attended, yeah.
All right, thanks. I attended the Council of Water Utilities meeting yesterday also, and I found Maureen's PowerPoint presentation was a little bit different and some things added to it, and it had a really good summary on the status of the litigation. So there was some additional information there, very clear and concise. And, really got some new information there.
Likewise, I attended the same meeting, and it was interesting. This is a badminton game between the Water Authority and Metropolitan. The Water Authority says Metropolitan defeats it, denies it. Water Authority comes back and reassures us that what they said was true. And, somewhere in the middle is the reality. But what I came away with is this is Metropolitan Water District. There's the big 800-pound gorilla in the room. You can yabber all you want. They're going to do what the heck they want to do, and I just cannot believe they're going to change. And so, crazy as I sound, finding our water in the valley and weaning ourselves as much away from what the Metropolitan as possible is certainly a goal I'm willing to look for. As for the San Diego Economic Development Council, Matt Hall, the mayor of Carlsbad, spoke, and again, water was one of the topics, and I came away with good information, and I sat next to a gentleman and we talked about our water here in San Marcos, that we have plenty, we still are gonna conserve, and we're looking for more.
All right, thank you. Other business, there's information about the WEF Northern California tour in your agenda packages. Next, director comments. Start with Director Hernandez.
I'm all talked out.
Okay. I have nothing. Director Martin.
I'm just curious as to how many of these were made.
I don't know. Chris is no longer with us, so I don't know how many were made.
Okay, I'm just curious,
I'll provide the directors with that information.
I know they're not cheap, and I just-
Save you some money when you go shopping at the store.
it's way too small.
You can attend a few more conferences and get the.
That's what I use our conference with, they're the big canvas ones.
Yeah.
I know they cost big money, I just didn't know what they cost, how many we made, who's getting them, and is it part of our advertising, campaign, or what bowl of money is that coming from? And one other thing I just want to briefly mention, I understand last night that there was a Newland Sierra draft EIR meeting at which there was at least one speaker that seemingly tried to speak for the water district and said that we were approving all this crazy stuff. I'm thinking that in the future, we need to have a board member represent the water district so they can combat in front of the 300 or 200 or 50 people that are there, combat any misgivings, mistruths, or absolute lies that are being spoken about by Vallecitos. So I'd like us to keep abreast of when those meetings are happening and to see if any of us are available to go that evening to the meeting so that we can represent the water district and not have lies, mistruths, misdirections being told about us.
Director Snow. Okay. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda. So we're adjourned.
We're done?